I lived in Istanbul for 3 months this last year, and one of the main reasons I decided on the city is because Turkish food is my absolute favorite. I made it my mission to try everything I could, and today I'm going to show you my favorite foods. I'm going to rank those in order from best to worst. First is the most iconic food in Istanbul. If you walk around the city at all, you're going to see vendors with trolleys full of these circular breads coated with sesame seeds. These are really popular amongst the lower class because they're very accessible and cheap.
That's tasty. I really like that. It's quite hard, but it's not that it's dense or stale. It's just kind of crunchy on the outside. I've seen a lot of stands sell it with Nutella, but I feel like I like Nutella on softer breads. Like, you wouldn't put Nutella on a bagel, right? Because it's quite hard. I mean, maybe you would, but I wouldn't. This would be good with cheese, though. Like, if it were filled with cheese, I'll have to go looking for one with cheese, because this with cheese inside would be absolutely scrumptious.
Simit is really good, but it's pretty basic. I am going to put it to number 7 on this list.
Pide is a stuffed bread topped with meat, cheese, or any topping you want and baked in a wood fire oven.
And this time I got it with meat. I actually ordered one with meat. I just said meat, and he offered me cheese and I couldn't say no. So I went with meat and cheese. Can't go wrong with that combo if you ask me. Yeah, the cheese and meat together that's just another level. It is one of the best foods I've eaten here in my life. So this bread at the top is a lot thinner, but the bread underneath is a bit fluffier and nice, and the cheese is just delicious with the meat. It seems like a pizza when you think about it, but it tastes totally different and just better. I don't know how to explain it. Like, the cheese is, I don't know if it's the amount of cheese that they put or the type of cheese, but there's a strong cheese presence, and I love cheese, so I 100% recommend you try it. So when you're in Istanbul or when you're in Turkey, get the one with cheese and meat. Or I haven't tried the just meat one, so I can't say not to get that one yet. But I'm gonna say don't go for the just cheese one. I've had the just cheese one, Lebanese style, and that was really good. I think they kind of make it a little bit garlicky, and it's delicious. But the just cheese one here, it didn't do it for me. In the meat mix, they also have some peppers and stuff like that. I saw it when it was raw, and so there's a little bit of that kind of freshness, but it's really nice. I don't think it looks as good. I'm looking at it right now on camera. I don't think it looks as good as it tastes. Yeah, this is on another level. I'm not going back to the just cheese one.
Pide is honestly one of my favorite foods in general, not just Turkish foods, but there are some really good dishes on this list. So I'm gonna leave this at number 4 to leave a little bit more room at the top. This is the only dessert on this list, and of course I tried the other popular Turkish desserts like Turkish delight and baklava, but this came up on top undoubtedly. I honestly had a little bit of an addiction to this first one. I couldn't find the exact name for this specific shape and type of dessert, but it's kadayif, or kadayif, however you say kadayif, with pistachio inside. I keep calling it knef in this clip, which is another sort of similar dessert, but different. So just keep that in mind that I keep calling it something else, but this is kadayif with pistachio inside.
Right now we've got treats. We've got some serious treats. There are some treats in this box right here that I have been thinking about ever since I saw them when I got here to Istanbul. And the thing about treats is I can't get into a habit of I see a treat, I want it, I eat it, because then I'm going to be eating treats every single day, especially in a city like Istanbul where I love all the food and it's all on display. Really, I see someone, I think I'm at a park, so I think someone's sleeping there. So I'm gonna quiet down because I don't want to disturb his sleep. But anyway, yeah, it can get bad. If I see every treat, I eat everything I like. Trust me, I work out a lot, and that's the only reason I'm not about triple my size, if not more, because I love to eat. So I've been kind of saving it for a special day. Today's the special day, so we're gonna try it. But I've genuinely been thinking about this treat every day since I saw it. Like, I'm going to sleep, and I just can't go to sleep because I'm thinking about this treat. Trying to open this box, almost like a pistachio sandwich, but sweet. I love pistachio, and I love pistachio desserts. So you guys can imagine I have a good time here in Istanbul. So let's try it. This is literally, again, the thing that I've been kind of fantasizing about. So I have high expectations, which I realize now is a bad idea. But anyway, let's just dive in. I'm telling you now, this is not the last time I'm going to eat this. I don't even know how to describe it. It's kind of soft inside. You can see the pistachio. It's almost like a pistachio creaminess with syrup and whatnot. In the inside, I think there's another nut. And this is all knef on the outside, kind of, but it's kind of hardened. 10 out of 10. Like, this is a 10 out of 10 food. There's no other way to put it. When you're in Istanbul, you see this, just eat it right away. Just go in and get it. Get yourself a treat, especially if you're just here for a vacation. If you're living here, then probably don't do that every time, because it's not gonna be the healthiest thing. But if you're just here on a week vacation, every time you see one of these in a little shop, just go in and do yourself a favor and get one of these, because it's quite honestly the best dessert I've had. I'm just considering, If I did eat one of these every single day while I'm here for 3 months, if I had 90 of these, how fat could I possibly get? Like, how fat would I really get? What if I just walk a lot and work out a lot? I almost think the fatness could be worth it, you know? I'm only here for 90 days. I'm kidding, guys, but like, I'm kidding, but I'm not. There isn't even a way for me to explain how good this is through the camera. You guys just have to try this. Like, it's genuinely one of the best desserts I've had in my life. Wow. Wow. Entirely on another level. It's also not too syrupy, because some baklava can be a little bit too syrupy. I mean, the syrup is good, of course, but I don't like for the dessert to feel wet. This one, I think it's because of the crust or whatever this is on the outside. I don't know if it's like some sort of dried knafe or what it is exactly, but it absorbs it in a way where the dessert isn't wet. I feel like baklava would make a good, like, wedding proposal, like engagement proposal. Like, if you show me a ring, or you show me this, I'm a lot more excited about this, I'm not gonna lie. Like, if someone proposed to me with this, I just dropped a little piece. If someone proposed to me with this, it'd have a better chance than with a ring. Yeah, so this appears to have pistachio in it, and I love anything pistachio based. It also seems to have knafe around it. I think this is knafe, not 100% sure, but this is all the makings to be a dessert that I like. I like things that are sweet with pistachios. That's it. I love it. So, let's try. This one is more whole pistachios. It's not kind of chopped up really finely or into a paste like it is for other pistachio desserts, but it's still really delicious in that form. Again, this one isn't too... It's not wet because of the whole pistachios, because of this crust kind of outside. The syrup doesn't make it wet like it can with baklava, where the sheets are very thin and then they kind of bleed through, and then the whole thing is just wet. It tastes good, don't get me wrong. I love baklava, but I like this. I don't know, maybe this is considered baklava, a different type of baklava, but I like this one better. 2 more pistachio desserts to try. I've seen this one before, even in Canada, where there's so much pistachio in such a thin layer that you can even see the green from the outside. We're really excited to try this one. This is good. It's like a mouthful of sweet, syrupy pistachio cream. Like, there's nothing bad about it. It's delicious. My favorite is still that kind of sandwich thing, though, just because the contrast between the creaminess of the pistachio inside and just the crispiness of the outer layer. I don't know if it's knafe or what it is, but it's incredible. The other one is this kind of bulb-formed baklava. I'm pretty sure I've seen this in Canada as well, even. But this one, instead of just being layer, and then, you know, pistachio layers, this one, from what I understand, is there's an outer layer of this pastry, I guess, but the inside is just a lot of pistachio. So again, heavy pistachio dessert, just my type. I don't actually know what's inside. Something creamy. I don't think that's pistachio. It's really good. That was a good time trying those desserts. Just doesn't get better than that. I recommend all of those, but if you're only going to try one, maybe one that is traditional baklava if you haven't had one before. If you're from Canada, I don't know if it's just Canada or where I am from in Canada, but I ate a lot of baklava. There's baklava everywhere. Pretty much everyone has tried baklava if you live in Toronto, right? I think. Even you go into a shawarma restaurant and they're gonna have baklava there. I worked at a shawarma restaurant, guys, and there was just a tray of baklava. So I got into that tray, and the thing is, that tray, the baklava, is usually not even on the menu in shawarma restaurants, but they have a tray. So no one would order it. I'm like, I don't want this thing to go bad, you know? So you know I was eating that baklava. A lot of it. And so yeah, good memories, but the pistachio one is best. 100% recommend that pistachio sandwich looking thing. One of the best things that you can try when you're in Istanbul.
You can probably tell from the clips that I really love this dessert, but this is actually number 2 on the list. Believe it or not, there is one that's better than this.
Midye Dolma is a mussel stuffed with spiced rice, and it's super popular street food in Istanbul and coastal cities in Turkey.
Alright guys, so I have the mussels in a bag. I got 5 of them, which was 75 lira. I'm not actually the biggest fan of seafood, so I'm curious to see how I'll like this. I'm sorry if you guys can't hear me. I'm on the side of a very busy road. But basically, they give it to you like this, and there's seasoned rice inside of it. You basically grab it with the other side from what I've seen in videos and eat it whole. That is insanely good. He squeezed a bit of lemon on it. I'm sorry guys, my hair's gonna be going crazy. I'm outside right now. This is not great for filming, but I don't even, as I said, I don't even like seafood, but this is properly good. Like, this might become something I eat pretty often. As I said, inside, you see the rice and the mussel. I would eat this every day. I might start eating this every day. It can't be unhealthy, right? It's just like rice and mussel. Wow. 10 out of 10. I also don't want to touch my hair because my hands have mussels on them. But this is genuinely the best food I've had here. And it's not that expensive, especially for seafood. I would eat this every day. There's no reason not to. The price is good. And I don't think it's unhealthy. Although I could be wrong. And there's just something fun about eating out of a shell like this. There's some novelty to that. There's a guy that sells it super close to my house. I'm just gonna pop out for dinner every day. Buy it from him. And that's a good like fish source because I genuinely don't have, if you guys have seen other videos, I pretty much eat like lentils and vegetables plus fruit, but I don't get a lot of fat in my diet here. That Midye Dolma almost got me arrested. The police were called on me. Let me actually explain what happened. So the Midye Dolma was great. About 30 minutes later, I start to get a stomachache. And I'm like, okay, it makes sense. I ate seafood on the street, so my fault. And I'm feeling a little bit sick, but not to the point where I need to go home or anything like that. Just like, I feel uncomfortable. And eventually I end up going to a dessert restaurant because I wanted to try dondurma, which is a Turkish ice cream. But at that point, I'm about an hour into eating the food and I'm starting to feel like, okay, I'm gonna need to use the washroom. And so I asked the waiter, you know, are there any washrooms? He directs me to them. I go in and I felt violently ill. Like, I felt paralyzed by the pain. I started sweating like crazy. It was just the weirdest experience. I'd never had that with food before. Keep in mind, I'd say I have a pretty resilient stomach. Like, I've eaten all sorts of street foods throughout Colombia and Mexico and never even felt slightly sick. So it's not like I just have a really weak stomach, but I'd never felt anything like that before. And so I'm in the washroom feeling ill and I'm about 22 minutes from home. I checked on Google Maps and I'm on a street called, what is it called? It's called probably the busiest street in Istanbul. If you ever see a really busy street picture of Istanbul, it's probably on that street. And it's just packed and it's a pedestrian street pretty much. No cars go there. So I can't even call like a taxi or an Uber or anything like that to pick me up. I'm texting my mom explaining the situation to her because I'm just in crazy pain. Like I'm struggling to text on my phone. And then eventually I start to feel a little bit better. I'm like, okay, I think I can walk home. I get up inside the washroom stall and I'm like, oh no, like I can't walk. I'm not moving, I can't. And so I sit back down. I use the washroom again. Not to get into details, I use the washroom again. Finally, I start to feel okay again. I get up and I'm like, okay, I'm gonna try walking home. So I start walking and I think I've walked a long time, but I start to feel like ill again, sick. And so I look around and I'm like, where can I go to the washroom? And I see this place called Espresso Lab, which if you guys have been to Turkey, you guys will know is a Turkish coffee chain, something like Turkish Starbucks, let's say. And so I walk in there and I know that there'll be washrooms that I can use. I go to the washroom area and there are 3 washrooms and they're each like 3 private washrooms, but it's not specific ones for women or men. Anyone can walk into that hallway and there's only one of them available. The other 2, I can hear people in there. As soon as I get inside, I text my mom like, hey, like I had to stop again. I checked Google Maps and I was only 20 minutes away from home. So I'd only walked 1 minute in that direction. And so I'm like, okay, well, I'm gonna use the washroom again and then again try to go home. So I'm using the washroom about 10 minutes in to me stepping in because I could see when I texted my mom, they start knocking on the door and I knock back like, yeah, I'm in here. And they keep knocking. Like, they're not knocking to see if I'm there. They're knocking for, I don't know why yet, because I don't understand Turkish. I'm just knocking back because I can't explain anything in Turkish. I'm using the washroom. And so they keep knocking, and they start to get very aggressive with their knocks. And it's a man and a woman. And I feel a bit scared because they're knocking very aggressively and the man is straight up just yelling at me. Like, full, as loud as he can, just yelling at me. And so I'm feeling a little bit scared at that point, and I'm yelling back at him at this point in English. I don't think we're understanding each other. And I'm telling him I'm using the washroom, right? Like, I don't know what you want me to do. I'm using the washroom. They start kicking the door, and it's not kicking, like, just to kick it. They're trying to kick it down. And at that point, I feel very scared because this man is straight up being aggressive, kicking with such violence, yelling at me. So at this point, I'm like, okay, I think I feel okay to walk now, but my hands are shaking because I'm just so scared. I'm a woman alone in a secluded washroom with some man yelling at me in Turkish. I don't understand what he's saying. Not to say that he should speak English or anything like that, but I'm just saying, like, I'm not understanding. He's yelling, he's being aggressive, he's kicking the door violently. I'm holding the door because I'm sitting on the toilet with my pants down. Like, I'm in a very vulnerable situation with some man doing all of that. I felt really scared. Like, I straight up felt like I was gonna cry, but I kind of held it together because I was like, okay, crying's not gonna help right now. And so I'm just holding the door. And I'm feeling so scared, but I'm like, okay, whatever. I'm gonna get up, flush, wash my hands. So I started washing my hands, whatever. And I'm scared. And I'm pretty much prepared to walk out of the washroom and have to fight with this guy because of how aggressive he was being, you know? It's not like a thing where you just walk out and walk by and it's fine. Like, what the hell was that? As I'm washing my hands, they're like saying like, we're gonna get the police, whatever. I was like, okay, go get the police. I've been here. When they started knocking and going crazy, I was in there for 10 minutes. There are 2 other washrooms. It's not like you had to do all of that. And so I'm like, whatever, feel free. You guys are the ones that are being aggressive. I'm just using the washroom. I'm not doing anything wrong. And so, you know, wash my hands, whatever. I come out. Police is there. Just one, thankfully. Like, obviously, they're not going to send a bunch of police here over a situation where there's a girl in the washroom for 10 minutes. And then there's the girl there that was knocking. She's an employee. I didn't know she's an employee when she was knocking. I just heard some lady. And there's a huge man. And I'm pretty sure he was an employee. He wasn't wearing the same uniform, so maybe he's like a manager or something. And I could see by the shoes that was the guy that had been kicking the door. So as soon as I walk out, again, in English, like, what the hell's wrong with you? I don't even know what I said to him, but I was, you know, scared, upset, like all of that. And then they're kind of yelling back at me, like, you're in the washroom for 30 minutes. And I know I wasn't because I literally have the text, but there's no point in arguing that with them. And I just say, I was feeling sick, like, well, whatever. And they're like, I asked you if you needed help. And I told the lady, like, what are you going to do to help me in the washroom? Like, what are you going to do for me? She didn't know how to respond, obviously, because what does that mean? How are you going to help me while I'm in the washroom? Like, what are you physically going to do to help me? Are you going to give me a tummy rub? It's not, I don't know what that was all about. But anyway, I turned to the police officer, and this whole time, she hadn't said anything the entire time, because she's probably thinking, like, well, why the hell am I being called to this, right? She was probably someone, it's a busy street, so she had probably just been called in just from right outside the street, and she was just there, and she was just there. She didn't say a word. And I just turned to her and I was like, I'm so sorry. Not for being in the washroom, just for like the situation, because I've been yelling at this guy, and I'm sorry that she got roped into a situation of me being in the washroom. I just turned to her and say, like, I'm so sorry. And she's like, it's okay. And then I just walk out and everything was fine, but a crowd had formed because I'll be honest, I was screaming at the top of my lungs at this guy because he was screaming at the top of his lungs at me. And so obviously, you know, the coffee shop could hear yelling from a girl. It sounds like, what's going on? And so there's a little bit of a crowd formed after when I've left that is seeing like what's going on. So I wasn't even embarrassed, honestly. I think because of how scared I was from the situation, I didn't even have a chance to feel like any kind of shame about the fact that everyone was watching this situation. But anyway, that was my experience. I'm probably not going to be eating that Midye Dolma again. I'm sure you can find places where the seafood is a little bit cleaner, but I'm just not going to take my chances because the experience was pretty bad. The food is delicious. Feel free, you know, at your risk, maybe plan it so that it's a day where right afterwards you're going to get home. Since then, after I've used the washroom, I'm now feeling better, so I don't think it's going to be the kind of food poisoning that lasts, I hope, for, you know, a few days or anything like that. I think I got it out of my system, and I didn't throw up, so all good, although I felt really nauseous. I felt like I was going to. But yeah, this video is about the top foods in Istanbul, my favorite foods that I ate. And it's still a favorite food. It's not about foods I recommend. So just keep that in mind, and this was my situation, and do with that what you will. Is that the phrase? Anyway, next food.
Lahmacun is a Middle Eastern flatbread with minced meat, vegetables, and herbs on top. I had tried Lebanese lahmacun before, but the Turkish style was totally different.
It smells really, really good. Anyway, I'm really excited to see how this compares. Yeah, I think this is already, just from feeling it, I feel like it's gonna be way better than the ones I've had because it's more pulled. I literally watched them make it right there, so it's very, very fresh as well. But I just feel when I'm pulling it apart, it's like the dough is stretchy, which I feel like is appealing for some reason. Yeah, this is different. I feel like the ones I've had before, you would eat it flat like this. This one actually came kind of folded, so, because it's thinner. It's like thinner and folded, I feel like makes more sense for this one versus the other one I've had. It's definitely different. This bread is way, way thinner and lighter than the Lebanese ones I've had. This is almost kind of flaky, like it's really, really thin.
I love lahmacun. It's taking number 3 on this list, and it's definitely a must-try when you're in Istanbul.
Balik Ekmek is a common street food and it's basically a mackerel sandwich with vegetables. I only ever saw it sold by the Bosphorus in this specific area from the boat where the fish is caught and prepared.
I'm right here by Galata, how do you say that? Tower. So obviously we're going to try the Balik Ekmek. You can see here, they have all the shops, all these places. I paid 150 lira for it. I got half a sandwich, which is like as big as you need. It's actually massive. I think a quarter would do. I've heard there are bones in here, so I'm a little concerned about that. Also, there are a lot of people coming by here, walking, so I don't want someone to snatch my camera. It's pretty good. I feel like it tastes like what I would guess it would taste like. It tastes like a fish sandwich. I taste some onions. I feel like I should show you what it looks like inside. I don't know if you can see it because it's nighttime, but I recommend it for when you come here. It's good. I like the onion with the fish and the greens. I think there's lettuce in there. It gives it a nice freshness. I kind of wish there was less bread. It's not that it's not filled enough, it's just too much bread. But I think it's because last year I spent a few months in Mexico, so I got used to tortas, like sandwiches with quite thin bread. Like a really nice bread to filling ratio. This is a little bit bread heavy.
This is a good and simple sandwich, but I kind of like Simit a little bit more. I think one of the things that makes it so special is that it's only really served in this one area of Istanbul, which makes it feel like you just have to try it when you're in that area. So I'm sure you're gonna go around that area. It's a very popular area in Istanbul. When you're there, definitely try the fish sandwich just for the vibe, just because you're there.
Tantuni is stir-fried spiced beef in a wrap. Sounds super simple, but it's really delicious.
Another one of my favorite things that I've had here in Istanbul. Yeah, this is so much better than regular just dürüm. You see it's quite thin, but literally all the filling, all of that is meat, so it's quite heavy.
A standard dürüm with chicken is a lot more popular, but in my opinion, Tantuni is 10 times better. So definitely make sure you try that one. I'm gonna put it at number 5 for this list, and now it's time to go to the number 1 item on this list. Absolutely have to have it when you're in Istanbul.
Adana Kebab is minced lamb grilled on a charcoal.
They use hail fat to give it this incredible texture, and I'm not a fan of very fatty meat. I actually find it kind of disgusting. I always cut fat off of meat, but because it's minced meat and the fat is sort of incorporated, it doesn't have that weird texture of fat. It's just incorporated with the meat, and instead it gives it this buttery mouthfeel, and it really feels like it just melts in your mouth. Incredible. Even though I ate this food literally more than anything else on this list, every single time I was just in a super busy restaurant, difficult to film, or I was with people, and I never ended up actually filming a taste test, unfortunately. This is one that you're just gonna have to try on your own. Istanbul was truly food heaven for me. I tried so many different foods. I had to cut this list down to something reasonable, but this was just my absolute favorite food destination. Turkish food is my favorite cuisine, so if you guys have any recommendations, please pop them in the comments. And maybe I've tried them, maybe I haven't. We'll see. We can talk in the comments, and I'll see you next week for next week's video.